Hello, welcome again to FAIRtax Power Radio. I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Malero.
And we are the
FAIRtax Guys.
And Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And we've got a fun episode for you today. Another one of our best of FAIRtax Power Radio. Now, the one one we watched last week about how money walks, I'd have to say that is my favorite episode that we've already done. But I had a lot of fun working with this one.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Anytime I get to beat up on you,
I
think I will.
All right. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy this too, because we were working from the Red Book there. The end of the Red Book, it talks about what it would be like to live under the fair tax all your life and never have known an income tax. You've lived with the fair tax all your life and there's never been an income tax. And then along comes this slick politician that wants to convince you he's got a plan that's going to get rid of that horrible 23% sales tax. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, but of course there's a few things that go along with that. Mm-hmm. So that is our replay. We originally broadcast this, put this together back in sometime in the summer, and we're going to replay it for you again now. So
what do we call this one? The Great Con Job or something?
Yeah, it's like the income tax, the Great Con Job. Yeah. So please enjoy the Great Con Job. You've lived under the fair tax all your life, and then along comes this politician, and he says he's got a grand new scheme for a tax system.
Okay, Mr. Grand New Scheme, let's hear it.
Yeah, well, first, he's going to get rid of that 23% sales tax on all the stuff.
Wait a minute. You mean that everything I've been buying all my life is now suddenly going to be 23% cheaper because you're taking this tax away?
Yeah, 23 cents on the dollar.
Give me five.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
This is a good deal. In fact, if you looked at it as the 23 cents compared to the 77 cents, on each dollar, it's actually, I'm taking away 30% tax. If you want to look at it like that.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so this is a good deal.
Tell me more. This sounds like fun.
Well, we got to replace it with something, okay? We got to feed the government. So instead of you paying that awful high sales tax on everything you purchase, we're going to replace it with an income tax, a simple little income tax.
Right? Wait a minute. Does this mean you're going to tax every dollar I earn?
Well, yeah.
Because right now, it's only taxing every dollar I spend.
Well, so we trade. It's a fair trade. Instead of taxing your spending, we're going to tax your income.
Oh, so you're just changing the point at which I get taxed.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a good way to put it.
Okay,
yeah.
That sounds pretty reasonable. Go ahead.
And, we want to make sure that it's fair for everybody. So not only are you going to pay more if you earn more, but to be fair and to make it progressive, we're going to have these different tax brackets.
What?
So, yeah. Well,
what's a tax bracket?
Well, it's a way of making sure that everything is fair and that the rich pay their fair share.
Well, the rich already pay their fair share. They buy more stuff.
Oh, yeah, but this is better. I mean, this will really get them.
Oh, okay. Right?
Yeah, because there's this little chart here. So now, if you earn, we're going to take 10% of what you earn up to $15,650. Okay, that's one bracket. And then if you earn more than that, which you probably will if you have a family or something, 15% on every dollar over the $15,650 up to $63,699. Okay, again, it's very simple. Then we're going to, and the next bracket is 25%. We're going to take 25% of every dollar you earn from $63,700 to $128,499. And then we're going to take, and the next bracket is 28%, and we're going to take 28% of everything you earn from $128,500 to $195,849, and then we're going to have another bracket in which we're going to take 33% of everything from $195,850 to $349,699, and then finally the last bracket is 35% on every dollar of your income over $349,700.
Wait a minute. I thought you said this was simple.
Well, that's simple. There's just a few little brackets there. It'll all be on the forms that the IRS sends out.
What's an IRS? That's the Illinois Railroad Society.
I was getting to that. Well, since we're collecting the tax on your income, we have to make sure that you're honest about reporting your income. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to make sure that your employer takes out this income tax before you get your paycheck. See, we're going to make it simple for you. Yeah, no, see, it's all in your best interest. Yeah, we're going to make it simple for you. We're going to make sure that your employer does the work for you so you don't have to worry about it. So before you get your paycheck, he's going to do, the employer is going to take that income tax right out of there.
Well, wait a minute. He doesn't take anything out of my check now. You mean that
remember, you're losing that sales tax.
Yeah.
So,
but now I'm losing I'm losing money.
Well, think of it this way. And the IRS comes in. That's called the Internal Revenue Service. They're going to run that whole thing, make sure that the money that the employer draws out is sent to them, and so forth. They're going to set up that whole system. Very simple. Very simple.
Okay, but you're still going to take away this huge 23% tax in the price of everything I'm buying.
Yeah, that's gone. That's gone. Think of it as 30%.
So the prices I pay for stuff will go down.
Yeah, that's right. So, and depending on how much you earn, it'll be in a certain tax bracket.
Yeah, that doesn't sound simple, but it sounds like it might work.
And here's another thing. We're also going to charge businesses. There's going to be a corporate tax, so the businesses pay their fair share. It's only fair that they pay their fair share.
So if the businesses pay, I don't have to. Is that it?
Well, no, you'll both have to pay, but this way you pay less.
Oh, okay.
Because the businesses also have to pay. Okay. And there is one other thing. That family consumption allowance. We can't afford to do that anymore. We're going to replace it with what we call the standard deduction.
Wait a minute. You mean that I'll no longer get this $600 a month check from the feds to pay my taxes up to this poverty level spending?
No, we're going to do it a much more simple way. When you do your taxes at the end of the year, part of it is going to be the standard deduction. When you calculate your taxable income and so forth, there's going to be some deductions. For instance, if you have a mortgage and you're paying interest on the mortgage, you can tax. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about this. There's going to be a tax on whatever you save and invest too.
What?
Well, yeah. I mean, we have to do that to make sure we have enough money for the federal government.
I'm beginning to like my sales tax better.
But no, I swear this is much simpler.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if you do have a mortgage and you're paying interest on it, you get to deduct that interest from your income. So when you figure out your income at the end of the year, you can deduct certain things. There'll be a standard deduction for you and your wife and your kids, depending on how many people are in your family, and there'll be deductions like mortgage interest deductions, stuff like that.
Hang on a second here. You said that my employer was going to take care of all this for me. Now you're sounding like you're putting a lot of extra work on me at the end of the year that I don't have to do right now.
Well, the employer is going to have his own hands full. I should say the employer is going to have record keeping to do too, and there's going to be a certain amount that you're going to have to do. Yeah, you're going to have to keep records, but your employer will send you a little form at the end of the year to let you know just how much you earned and how much was deducted and so forth. So it's going to be real simple. When you fill out that 1040, that form.
What?
Well,
what's a 1040?
Well, it's going to be a form that you're going to be required to return to the IRS that has all the information about your earnings and your deduction, charitable contributions, stuff like that, how many people in your family. We got to know all this stuff to make sure that we're fair and that you're not paying any more than necessary.
Wait a minute. You mean that I've got to start sharing the intimate details of my personal finances with the government?
Well, yeah, but nobody else is going to get hold of it. I mean, it'll be safe.
But that's my business. It ain't yours.
Yeah, but this really is a better system. I mean, okay, so Yeah, and there's this other thing too. That's all the income tax. The taxes your income and the corporation's income. But we also have to pay for Social Security and Medicare. So we're going to have an extra tax for those things. It's called the payroll tax.
Wait a minute. You mean this deductions that's going to be taken out of my paycheck doesn't cover Social Security and Medicare? I mean, the sales tax we're paying now does.
Those are two separate programs that, they have to be funded, so we have to have a separate tax for them.
We're funding them now with the sales tax. Why are you making this hard?
Well, I don't think it's hard. I mean, everybody in Washington thinks this is a dandy idea, All my colleagues in Congress, they think this is a great idea. So I'm not sure why you're hemming and hawing about this.
Getting rid of that huge tax that's included in the price of everything I buy sounds wonderful. But what you're replacing it with sounds like it's just going to be incredibly cumbersome to deal with.
No. It's trust me. I got your best interests in mind. This is going to be fine. So
sounds like you got your best interests in mind.
Well. The Social Security tax is going to be 6.2% from your paycheck.
On top of the other stuff.
Yeah, plus your employer is going to match it. So see, it's going to help you because your employer is going to have to match it. So you don't get the whole 12.4%, but the employer is going to contribute 6.2, and you're going to contribute 6.2. But then
what if I'm self-employed?
I'm sorry?
I'm self-employed.
Then you'll have to pay the whole thing. Yeah. And then there's Medicare. We have to take care of Medicare, too. So that's another 2.9% from everything. Anyways, altogether, it's really a much better system. By the way, do you have any savings or investments?
Yeah, but they're none of your business.
Well, they're going to be now, because if you get any interest or dividends, we're going to tax those too.
What?
Yeah. And by the way, when when your parents pass away or something and they leave you their estate, we're going to tax that too.
You got to be kidding.
Yeah, and you're going to have to start keeping records of everything that you do financially, income, expenditures and so forth. But it's really going to be a much better system. All right, and you want to be careful on this annual return that you're going to send to the IRS, because if you make a mistake, you could be penalized, and you'll have to pay the penalties and the interest. And if it's real bad, they could put you in prison. But it's really going to be a much better system.
Who decides what's a mistake?
The IRS. Yeah.
So the person that I'm paying gets to decide whether I've done it right or not.
Yeah, and we're going to make it easy for the IRS to do this. That Bill of Rights stuff? Well, the IRS isn't going to have to pay attention to that, okay? They're just, they're going to take care of business.
Are you out of your commie-loving mind?
Well, that's the only way that they can really, some people might want to cheat on this, and we can't have that. So we're just going to have to kind of waive the Bill of Rights, and make sure that everybody pays their fair share.
Yeah, wave the Bill of Rights right under your nose, and you can read it. Good. And I just thought of something, though.
Yeah.
You're talking about taxing corporations.
Yeah.
That means that the GM, all the Ford big corporations, the oil companies, Walmart, everybody, all of these big businesses are going to have to pay this new income tax. Is that right?
Yeah.
So if they're paying it, that means they don't have to collect as much from me because they're collecting some from them. Is that right?
Right.
Well, let me show you something, Kimosabe. What happens if those corporations just treat this new tax of yours as another cost of doing business and roll that cost ahead to me in the prices of their products?
Oh, they won't do that.
You said my prices are going to go down because you're going to take this big tax out of it.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like this incredibly complex system that you're proposing is going to impose a lot of new cost on businesses, and we know that businesses will just pass that on.
Well, no. Businesses have plenty of money. They won't have to raise their prices for this. No problem. All right. They have to hire a few CPAs and tax attorneys.
CPA? Oh,
Yeah.
the accountants. Okay. I
Yeah,
got you.
accountants and tax attorneys to make sure they're doing it right, because obviously they don't want to go to jail.
You're going to need an attorney to figure this out?
Well, you want to be on the safe side, so yeah, you might want to get, and maybe some companies will make some software that you can put in your computer, and you can figure all this stuff out at the end of the year. You just, type in a couple of figures, and boom, it prints out these 17 or 20 pages of your tax return, and you just send that into the IRS. See, simple. Good idea, huh?
No,
No.
I don't think so. I think I'd rather just pay at the cash register, so the government has no clue who I am, doesn't have to care about my personal finances, that no one a system that's open to cheating, where you have to report what you make. Now, I'm an honest guy, but there are a lot of folks out there that aren't. They're not going to report accurately what they've got. They're going to under-report their income. They're going to over-report, credits and all these new deduction stuff things. They're going to cheat like the Dickens on this thing, and I'm going to get messed up with it.
Oh, no, they'll never do that. Your fellow Americans will be just, everybody will be on the up and up. No problem here. This really is a much better system. At least everybody in Washington thinks it'll be a better system.
Oh, is that a fact? Well,
Yeah.
Tell you what, who's your opponent in the next election?
Oh, well, I have no idea. I've been elected for 14 terms now, and, nobody seems to run against me.
I guarantee if somebody does, I'm voting for them.
Oh, I'm trying to help you out here, and now you're going to vote for somebody else.
You're from the government, and you're trying to help me.
Yeah, I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Are you through yet?
Oh, I don't know if I can find anything else in there,
So you're going to change a system whereby I just pay my taxes at the cash register, for one that I have to fill out a tax return and send it to what you call the IRS?
Yeah.
You may say it sounds simple, but it sounds complicated to me.
Oh,
And anybody that thinks that a good idea, I ain't about to vote for that clown.
Oh, now he's resorting to name calling here. We're not clowns. I mean, we're serious people in Washington. We have only your best interests in mind.
Oh, you're the same people that modify the definition of municipal solid waste, huh?
I'm sure nothing like that would be put into the tax code.
Okay.
Oh
man.
Okay, we're done. We're done with that segment. All right. Does that point out how ridiculous this tax code is?
Yeah.
All right. Think about going from the fair tax that you've lived with all your life, and somebody comes along and wants to put in the tax system that we have now, warts and all. All right. Just how ridiculous would that sound? It would sound as ridiculous as the last 15 minutes here. All right.
Absolutely.
It's just crazy.
You're taking away my monthly tax refund. I don't like that a bit.
Yeah, it's not. What we have now, what we're suffering under now, has got to go, folks. And we need your help to do it. I mean, there's a lot of FAIRtax volunteers across the country, in every state and so forth, and they're all volunteers. The national organization is all volunteers. Each state organization, like we've said before, Bob and I are all we're part of the Florida FAIRtax Educational Association, all volunteers. They're all volunteers in New York and so forth, every state. And so we need your help. Let's see.
And we have proof that a sales tax based system works. We live here in Florida.
Yeah.
We've said this before, there is no state income tax in the state of Florida. The state of Florida is financed solely by the sales tax.
Yeah.
Which is paid at the cash register anonymously. You don't have to fill out tax returns. You don't have to keep records. You don't have to do anything other than just pay it at the cash register when you buy things. And Florida is one of the largest economies on the planet.
Oh, yes, it is.
It really is. And it works perfectly well without an income tax.
The state of Florida has a larger economy than most countries in the world.
It does.
Yeah.
And
there are 9 states in our union that have a sales tax and no income tax, just like Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and I never get past those 3. I cannot remember the others, but there's 9 of them, and their economies are doing much better than the 9 states that have the highest income tax. And those 9 states that have the highest income tax, I'm pretty sure that they all have a sales tax in addition to their income tax.
Yeah.
Not a good situation.
Yeah, and
okay.
the fair tax is designed so that doesn't happen at the federal level. It is designed. Right. It is implemented on the day it passes. The fair tax bill, when it passes, will repeal the statutory authority to collect an income tax. So you would not have a sales tax, the fair tax, and an income tax as of the moment it was enacted. But this fair tax has a little extra safety net into it. It requires that the 16th Amendment, the constitutional amendment which was required in order for the government to collect an income tax, that has to be repealed through the normal the constitutional amendment process.
Right.
If that doesn't happen, then the fair tax goes away, and you get the income tax back.
What I'd like to see happen is the Convention of States goes ahead and repeals the 16th Amendment, which will leave the fair tax as the only game in town.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Because
you will never have a sales tax. A sales tax. You will never have the fair tax. That's what we got into last time. The fair tax is a specific sales tax. Somebody may push through a sales tax that does not require repeal of the 16th Amendment, and you'll get them both. But you will not get the income tax and the fair tax at the same time.
And that's what they did in Europe. They've got an income tax, which they had for a long time, and then along comes the VAT tax, value-added tax, which is a consumption tax. Okay, it is a consumption tax. It's a little different. It's applied at the production level, and it's very complicated, and it causes a lot of record-keeping expenses for the businesses. But it is a sales tax, and I'll never forget, I've mentioned this before in one of our episodes, in my wife and I, when we were early on with the fair tax, and we were helping Nick and Barb at an outdoor event, and I was passing out these cards, and a lady she said, "I'm from the UK, you can hang on to that," she said, "but don't let them do what they did to us. They said if we passed the VAT tax, they could lower the income tax. They never did that. The income tax is just as high as it's ever won, and now we got this VAT tax on top of it." So that's a lesson to us here in the colonies. Don't make the same mistake that they did in Europe, where they have the income tax and a consumption tax. You can never satisfy these politicians. Their thirst for our money knows no bounds.
Yes. Well, Mr. Income Tax, I saw this on TV a long time ago, and I just thought of this. This is what I think of your new income tax plan.
Yeah, I've seen some other hand gestures too, but we're not going to go into that now.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got a couple of minutes left.
You'd make a good Italian.
I would. I like pizza.
Yep.
Ooh, that was fun.
Well, it was fun for you.
It was
kind of
fun at the time, but it was fun rewatching it.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you, it is not easy trying to play the advocate of the income tax when you really don't like the income tax. I hope I did a credible job, but it's kind of...
But you did a lousy job of selling me on the idea that the income tax is better than the fair tax.
No.
Because the truth of the matter, it ain't.
No one would ever fall for that. I mean, you've lived... If you actually had lived through the income tax, from the fair tax all your life, and somebody came along and tried to sell you on the income tax, you'd probably ride them out of town on a rail.
Well, you'd have to do it like they did back in 1913. Oh, this is an innocuous little thing that's not going to affect you.
Yeah.
Just a little bit that's going to affect the rich folks. So wealth entity was alive and well in 1913.
Yeah.
So that's how they had to get it in. They could not tell the whole truth about it, and they certainly could not tell the truth about what it has evolved into.
Yeah.
70,000 pages of the most intrusive way to fund the government you can possibly
imagine. Stuff like civil asset forfeiture.
Yeah, and all the stuff we've been looking at on Congress.gov that's in the tax code that has no business being there.
Yeah.
And the definition of municipal solid waste and all that kind of stuff is in there. So
anyways, we hope you enjoyed that. We hope you share it with a lot of other people, even though this airs on New Year's Eve. We realize that people are probably going to be doing other things, but it'll be there. It'll be on Facebook forever. It'll be on our website, FAIRtaxGuys.com. And you can always contact us at our email address, thefairtaxguys@gmail.com. And let me do a quick plug for the FairTax Logo Store. We ask you to help us out by demonstrating your support visibly for the FairTax. I mean, we have the new earrings. All right, they're finally here. Okay. Tote bags. There's all kinds. There's some general grocery shopping tote bags, and we have these nice ones here. Okay. Oh, the tumblers. Yeah, I forgot to mention the tumblers. I didn't even bring one here, but I'll put a graphic up there. The umbrellas are back there. We did without them for a while. I'm not going to open this up, but I'll put a picture of it there. The umbrellas, palm cards. You know, you can get a package of these. They're two-sided, good information about the FairTax and some websites. You can buy them in a packet like this, and don't hang on to them. Give them out to people. That's the idea, okay? And the prebate card, which is very popular because it's small, fits in your pocket. Basic information about the FairTax on one side, the prebate schedule on the back side. The scrolling banner, which Bob and I use at the beginning of every episode. Bring these to your town halls. In fact, I think in one of the episodes we said, you're required to take this to your next town hall.
especially the ones that say you're not supposed to have signs.
Make it a New Year's resolution.
Indeed.
Okay.
We'll do that.
And the yard signs, which we forgot to bring in here, but I can put a picture up there anyways. So, FairtaxLogoStore.org, FairtaxLogoStore.org. Go on there, take a look. Surely, there's a lot of other things besides what I've mentioned. There's going to be something there that draws your interest. And like I said, demonstrate your support for the FairTax by wearing a shirt or a hat or a campaign button or, you know, whatever. And it'll help us out. It'll help spread the word.
Indeed.
So
thank you so much for listening to and watching FairTax Power Radio over this past year. Hope to we'll do it all again next year. It was so much fun. Yeah, because we're not going to give up till we get the FairTax signed into law.
That's right.
Not a chance. That's one of the things that the swamp and the elite, I believe, are counting on, that we'll just get tired of the fight and quit. Ain't going to happen.
No.
So
I got a few years left in me.
I hope so. Well, I say that's going to wrap up this edition of FairTax Power Radio. Again, thank you for watching and listening. I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Malero.
We are the FairTax Guys, reminding you that the FairTax is the only truly fair tax, and once you understand it,
you'll demand it.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
The fair tax does not hurt the poor and does not reward the rich because it's not a straight sales tax like the sales tax we already have. The fair tax creates a level playing field by taxing everyone at the same rate at the cash register, but untaxes the household up to poverty level. This means that those living closer to the poverty level pay a lower overall tax rate, while those living a lavish lifestyle pay a higher overall tax rate. Yet the law still applies to everyone equally. This is called the prebate, which reimburses every legal American household the taxes they will have to pay on the basic necessities each month. As those basic necessities vary by household, the fair tax untaxes you and not the purchases. This keeps tax lobbyists out of the picture and keeps you in control of what you pay. Do you think the prebate will be too expensive and act just like a huge welfare program? The prebate will cost less than half of what the current deductions and exemptions cost, and operates just like the standard deduction you already take. It's your money. You're just getting it back each month rather than once a year. Everyone under the fair tax controls their own tax rate by deciding when and how much money they spend above poverty level, and thus how much they pay in taxes. To learn more, please visit fairtax.org and be sure to like us on social media to help educate your friends and spread the word.